You're more welcome to ask questions if you come on here. Like I said, I'm not doing nothing real formal. I'm just playing around. We're going to play around a little bit. You can let me know the audio's okay, though. Or if you're cruising through, just hit the like button in case it starts getting kind of busy. But it's Wednesday's hump day. Everybody's probably watching whatever they're watching, football, or still out. Maybe the sun's not down, still hustling. Still hustling. Let's go to this. Uncle, let's go to add to stage. And I can around with another software here. So we're just, hopefully the audio, is the audio okay on this one? I don't know. I can see why they have, I can see got people that do all this kind of stuff. The broadcast and everything else. Plus I was just seeing if I could even do two at the time. Got all cleaned up. Made sure I wore the hat in case somebody's cruising through and they're like, "Ooh, or what are you doing?" No, I'm running low on petrol. That's okay. We'll fill it up. Give it a couple. Otherwise, I hope you're doing good. Remember Uncle Dave with affordable door and gate. Why does the mic look all messed up? We've been messing with the mic. We've been messing with the mic. Otherwise, what I can yak about a little bit though. Rusty's on board. I see him popped up, which is weird. Ooh, Rusty's got, what's Rusty got? Rusty says, "Dave, I just backed in after a long day of 3 doors. And I'm gonna load my truck and see your live stream." Well, take your time, Rusty. I totally understand. You know, it is not easy out there. That's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. Okay, so 16 by 8 and 2 9 by 8s, dude. That's a day right there. Insulated, non-insulated. Man, the insulator is on point today. Non-insulated seem like you can whip them around a little faster. Nice. Plus, I'm kind of curious of what Rusty rehooked them to. Were they like LiftMaster, Chamberlain, Sears, Stanley? We got 2 of these going, so it's just interesting to kind of watch it. But I think I was thinking of a guy from the UK. That's funny. I just said the UK, United Kingdom, though. Ukraine, though. I don't know. Is it? I don't know how to say your name. Is it Rabik? Rabik? What do you think about the war? I'm just curious of what you think. What do you think about the war in Ukraine? I think of a proxy. It's probably a proxy war. I keep hearing rumors that China might do the Taiwan. They might go after the Taiwan. But you let me know. Or you guys, anybody let me know. What do you think about the Ukraine war? Wasn't North Korea or something just got more troops into or something like that? I kind of backed out of it for a while. I'm just starting to get kind of into it. Ooh. Dang, man. I tell you what. Clope, Bridgestone, 18 brother. I started 18. Rehooked LiftMaster. We got material. 5289, 15. Dude, if I was making that kind of money, I would definitely take a week off. I would definitely easily, like, I would just do one job, do a job like that a week, and I'd be like done. Rusty's guy says, "I care less about the Ukraine, Dave. I got garage doors to do and money to make." Mr. Tony, I'm glad you stopped in. It's kind of a bummer because I know, like, it's like really hard to do. I was like, man, it's like, if we could make a hat and you could send it to me, I'd wear a hat. It's got how to find Papa Tony. What else was I thinking? I'm curious. I was watching your tester thing, which I think was great. But I think my question was on the tester. Oh, and by the way, too, if anybody's cruising through, please hit the like button. Just bring the algo, brings more people, more fun, all that good stuff. So don't forget to hit like. Um, for Mr. Tony, I watched it. I maybe I didn't understand it or watch it all the way through. I don't know what I did. But that tester, will that show you a short? So like my biggest problem I've always had with photo eyes is I don't really seem to have that problem. I don't have that problem anymore because I use the round staples. I got the staple gun that round. And those, I shot a couple the other day though, and I was like, I thought, ooh, man, I might be putting them in a little too tough. And I was doing like the wiggle, like I pull the wire down a little. Did I mar it? I was like, no, I'm good. But I've had it where it's nicked, right? And obviously, well, I guess obviously makes a connection across. That's where you have the problem, right? Or I've shot it between. I've had that happen before. That's a boo boo. Shoot it right between or right on the wire. Break the wire. That's always a son of a biscuit. But I've had it. I'm sure some of you guys have had it too, and probably Papa Tony. Oh boy. And stream down. He says, "I'm here." That's crazy. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, it's I'm playing around here. But on that photo, I've had the old LiftMasters, right? Chamberlain. I've had those things trick me where they'll get just a slight flitter in them. I mean, the slightest flitter. Like I've literally had to lay on my belly and stare at it. Like that photo is like right here, and I'm just staring at it, and I watch it, and it's just a flick, right? It doesn't even shut off away. It's almost halts. It's almost like if you ever have a well pump in your house, and the pump turns on, you see the lights dim just a little bit, not flicker all the way off, but just a dim. And so I was kind of thinking about that tester. I'll have to watch it again. A little slow. Oh, I can bring some of you guys up. I should. Okay, so there we go. Rusty back. Long day. Sorry about that. That's what this software's for. It's supposed to be able to do that kind of stuff. Holy cow, we got 2 likes. My goodness. So rock star. The Clope. R18. Rehook. Ooh, the 3265s are still running. Oh man, those were my babies. I love the 3265s. God, I love those. Those are good days. I've been watching. It's kind of funny. Maybe some of you guys also watch like what is it, like TFL Truck, and I feel the same way. So I'm glad there's like these videos coming out that I feel like I'm not alone because. Tell you what, man, the car manufacturers, they just seem like they absolutely suck right now. And even the Car Wizard was talking about it. Even Scotty Kilner's talking about the new Toyotas having problems. It's just so sad that we can't make good stuff right now. It's just like, ugh. And I feel like these opener backs on those, I mean, you have to take one hell of a lightning strike, like basically fry the wires, and it would get zapped. Rusty's got his multi-million there. He should be able to take the rest of the week off. Let's say Wednesday. Got garage doors. What's up, Tony? Tony, like Dave, just stopped at Menards and bought me a Menards door. Had to open it up and check it all out before I left the building. Yep, I know that feeling. And it's sad too because I pretty much think all manufacturers, except for the Service Spring ones. I haven't had those ones yet. I'm not blessed in that glory. But like Wayne Dalton, and there's other. I tell you, sometimes I was getting so irritated. I was going to build a wall inside the shop, and I was going to stack the whole door, like put the whole door together and tear the whole door down. I mean, could you imagine how stupid that would be? How much time and everything that would cost? But I was just getting so irritated. It was like, I honestly feel this way. This is obviously just my opinion. I do not like surprises. I absolutely despise surprises. Despise them. You know what I mean? Because I feel like in the business, it's like I'd go to the job site and I'd be missing something of a flag bracket. I'd be missing something, so I knew like the certain things I'd always check for typically, drums, end bearing plates, but those darn sneaky little flag brackets, the ones at the top, those ones would do the Houdini. And God darn it, man, I was irritated sometimes, get to the job and You know, and it's like when you talk to vendors, right? They're like, oh, there's no problem. You should just carry an extra hard box. There's no problem. I'm like, dude, I'm driving Ford Rangers. I'm like, I deal with AIM, Clopay. I deal with, say, like, how many, I can't, my truck is already, it's already low rider. You know what I mean? Like, it's low riding. I can't fit any more things. Can you just, like, please do quality control and make sure the stuff is right? But I get it. I get it. Be at the store checking everything out before we leave. Say, take this one back to the shelf, boys. No audio. Oh no. Hopefully this is still audio on this one. Hopefully. It's better, but cutting in and out. Ooh, dang, man. What's going on? Somebody's sucking up the internet. Oh, and like I said, don't forget hit like button if you're cruising through. There's some new ones in here. I don't know what this stuff is. Some of these guys, I normally don't respond to sleep. It's just weird. He says, yes, if you put a staple here, it'll quit making the beeping sound. What's nice about it is when you have a wall wire or photocell, you can identify each wire. It's new, and Tony's got, oh, I shut it off there. Or you can find short. That's nice. There you go. That's right. Don't be afraid. Like I said, you never know if somebody's cruising through. Go check out Mr. Tony's garage door. How many we got, Tony? What are we up to? How many subs we got? We're at 42. We just gotta knock a few more, man. What's up, Jay? Is it Jay Raps? Says hello. Hello. Is it Eddie? Is it Eddie Plays? Says hi. Hello. Well, I hope you had a good day. It's hump day around here in the States. Wednesday, I believe. It's a Wednesday, right? What you got? What you got? You know how you get a customer that will call you and say, I came back home. My door was open. Well, that's one of two things, or three. It could be a bad wall button, bad wire, or circuit board. You can eliminate it being the wire. That's really interesting, Tony, because I've never. I don't think I've ever had problems with a short color. Now, obviously, I remember the light bulbs because me and light bulbs just don't get along. I remember the light bulbs staying on for 5 minutes and kicking the door open. That was a big one. I mean, I'm not doubting it makes sense. Obviously, if the wire's shortened. But I don't think I've ever had one. Or the circuit board. I don't think I've ever had one either. Maybe Tony, is there a particular model? If it's a circuit, talking the circuit board on the wall button, or are you talking the circuit board like up on the unit? I'm just kind of curious because I don't think I've ever had an issue with those that I can quite remember off the top of my head. I just remember the light bulbs. Light bulbs were a big thing, kicking the door open. I tried it with one of the new Chamberlains. No, it was a cheap. I thought, well, maybe it's a cheaper model. So I thought, well, maybe it was a box store. I don't know which store she got it from. If it was Menards, Lowe's, or Home Depot. But I did the whole touching the wires together. It wouldn't do nothing. And I was freaking out a little bit because the little wall has actually almost like a doorbell, but it's still got that circuit board in there. And I was freaking. What's Tony got? Tony's got, what's 42? What's 42? 42. Tony asking me what? I don't know if maybe I was about, if you said it's a circuit board, okay, so okay, here you go. This is the power head circuit board and a lift master. Okay, okay, that's interesting. Is it? Do you know, Tony? Is there kind of a certain model? Is it the older ones, the newer ones, all of them? I'm just kind of curious because like I said, I've never heard of the door opening. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, now it might even get Wi-Fi stuff. Uh, Goodness gracious, we already got so many frequencies in the air. You know, I always remember. I always remember my grandpa when I was younger, when I was a little kid, little squirt, and I always remember him telling me, talking about the sky or something, and he says the sky is polluted. And I remember myself like, what's he mean the sky's polluted? Like I'm looking up in the air, I'm like, it don't look that bad to me. It looks like blue skies and clean, fresh air. But what he was talking about was waves. He's like, if you could see, he says, the radio waves in the air, he says, it would just be its fill. And I was like, thinking that was many, many, many years ago. What is it like now? Like I said, if you could see everything in there, oh, it'd be crazy. Here we got 5 likes just a random, wanted to check out things, just to say hello. Thank you guys for the likes. I hope everybody's doing good still. Message held for review. What's this? It says, how does having white privilege feel? I don't think I'm going to go into that. Like I said, everybody has opportunity. It's just a mindset. You know what I mean? Besides, you know how it is. You can't help the way you were born. You know what I mean? Oh, sorry, 42. Got it. 42 subscribers for Papa Tony. He's gonna get there. Just a matter of time. Everything, why? Everything just feels kind of slow right now. I just feel like in the back of my head, camera, focus. I just feel everybody's waiting for they're just kind of in that lull. It's the fall. It's election year. Everybody's kind of waiting. It doesn't help that the old stock market's kind of tanking and all kinds of other stuff going on in the news. What? Take that one off. Power HUD. I'll put this one up. Come on there. And that's 42 subscribers for Papa Tony. Tony's Garage Door Service. Nate says, howdy. Nate, I hope you're doing good. Nate, where are you from? You guys should let me know where you're from. Besides my seasoned vets, I know where you guys are from. Oh, somebody look at they said favorite transgender YouTuber. What a compliment. Oh. No. Tony's got no, that's just a common thing. If you do new construction and the wires are hidden behind the wall, I thought everybody knew that. No, I never, I got lucky that I'd never had too many problems with new construction. We never done a lot of new construction. I don't know if fear, we don't really have that much around here, and those guys get pretty settled in, because what was it? We had, when we first started out, there was a huge, I forget what it was called. I think it was I don't even remember, it was West something or whatever. But anyway, I remember wanting to get in with these guys. I mean, they were just doing huge subdivisions, right? I mean, they're running SUVs, brand new trucks, brand new equipment. I mean, just you were like, oh my gosh, they are doing something so right, and they got so many houses. And then to come find out through my buddy that passed away that did garage doors, he was like, they were the worst customers. They wanted it done for cheap. He says he said they'd make them put the garage doors in without backfill. So it'd be we had to go off extension ladders, and I'm like, screw that. He's like, yeah, we had to put bolts in the bottom of the track and then stack the door. I was like, no. He's like, yeah, that's how they were. I don't know if this way they get a check cut to them. I see Tony says something. Yeah. Love it. That's okay. I need it, Tony. You know it. And So, you know, and then when we went through the whole like '07, '08 stuff, man, it's it went down so bad. They went bankrupt. The houses were foreclosed on. I heard a lot of guys. I think we lost about 3 door companies in our area that were all in with new construction. That was their big thing, and they didn't get paid, so they got burned. Really, they went under. Dun, 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 dun. B. Dylan Bill, and it says Dave, how on this crazy stream? I know, That's okay. Howdy. Oh, Indiana. Dang, you're down there by Tony. Nice. Dave, around here, I sold multiple doors every week. Not slowing down, but picking up so much. I'm booked almost 3 weeks out. Ooh, nice. Nice. Says I'm lagging a bit. Yeah, something's going on. We'll have to see if we can fix it in the future here. Sorry about that. Nate says, do you trust the media? That's a loaded, man. That is a loaded. What I mean, you know, like I said, the media. I don't know. What are we talking? Mainstream media? Because obviously, mainstream media. No. You know, I think you always have to take a little grain of salt. I always liked when I did my building class. You know, the instructor in there, he always told me. He says, you know, I always thought that was the perfect right, and that was always follow the money, and that's pretty much kind of what it's about, right? You just follow the money. I mean, it's either resources, power, follow the money. And that's, you know, so if something don't make, who's that comedian? Is it George? Is it George Carlin? He passed away. I think he speaks a lot of truth. Holy crap, we got Rich B. Dang, Rich, what's up? What's up? What we got up there? Is that a sippy cup? That seems like Rich. Cheers, Rich. What's Papa Tony got? Garage door service. He says, yeah, I don't see any of those texts where is a guy from Indiana. So actually, Tony, I'm playing around right now. I got 2 streams. I got one on my phone. I got one on the computer here. So he's under stream. Like I said, that's why I was just doing a little test, playing around. It's Wednesday. Dun, dun, dun. Hey, we got Mr. F. Was that Tony? Were you making that one? You had a little short for Evan. What'd you call the beatdown? The beatdown Swedge. I had those things down too when we first started out. But now you got the Swedge tool. You got a Swedge, don't you, Tony? The nice one. You know, the crimps for making your loops at the bottom. Dun. Tony, let's see here. What is that? Is that a sippy cup? I think he gave me a sippy cup. Evan says, hey. Jesus said you should Google, is it GTV fly or something, and you'll figure out where the money leads. That's interesting. Huh. Maybe I'll take a little screenshot of this one. Just maybe so I got something to look up tonight. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, dun, dun. Says, somebody says, do I support Israel or is it Palestine? I don't know. Tell me. I think it was supposed to be probably do you, but it says bye. What's up, Tony? What's up, Rich? Got what's up, Evan? Nice. What's he got? Broke out of the other stream. He says, and I'm back. He broke out. He got out of the jail. Like I said, I wanted to play around. I figured out, I think I know how to turn my camera now too on my phone, which is nice. Just had to watch a video on it. They changed things. They're changing things. Oh, dang. Evan, what we got for supper, man? Come on. Can we all come over? Tony's got. So I'm gonna have to watch you on my phone and my TV. No, you're good. Just watch on here. Like I said, you hear all the same stuff. I wasn't planning on sticking around too much longer. I said if we got something, questions or whatever, I'm more than happy. I just kind of got cleaned up myself and just winding down. Thought I'd play around with this a little bit because the algos are a little goofy. Dun, 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 dun. Tony says, yeah. What's Tony got here? Dun, dun. Israel's. Yeah, I have that tool. It's just easier to do the beat down. Nice. The only thing I've ever found, like, what I noticed a little bit, like if I smack them down with a hammer, what I don't like is I don't like that the whole thing gets smushed. So, are you also putting a second one on there? You know, so it clips better in the drum. I'm just curious. So that's the only reason I don't smack them down. Ooh, let's take a look over here. I see this one. Is it Steven? It says a millwright. I'm a millwright. I don't know what a millwright is. That's interesting. Is it worth starting a garage door business? Can you tell me what a millwright is? I don't know what a millwright is. Also, is residential worth it? Yeah. I think if you're starting out, I think residential is actually the best for garage doors, you know? Especially when you're starting out, you learn so much, and it's very, very small, so, you know, small, and then it's money right away, which is nice, right? Normally you're going to get paid right when you're done doing the job. Everybody's happy. That's Rich. What's Rich got? What's a 16-ounce Swedge Tool? Why are you saying it like that, Rich? You talking about like the whole kit you get from Service Spring? I got the whole red kit. I really like the red kits. Oh, so industrial mechanic. Industrial mechanic. So, like, can you give me a little on that, Steven? Is it industrial mechanic? Is that like diesel trucks and stuff like that, or is it like in a shop working on? I'm just curious. What's Rich got here? I still have to burn cardboard tonight from say, hey, don't be cutting that stuff with no skill saw. It'd be like Uncle Dave, man. Chop you off. Telling you. Rusty, don't you got a dumpster? You need to get a dumpster, man. The 6-yard has worked really good for us. The 4-yard, too small. The 6-yard, perfect. I think we pay $425, something like that, $420 for 3 months. Nothing special. Chicken. Nice. That sounds good though. Good for you. Ooh, nice. All right, up for Bible study at 7. Good seeing you guys. Thanks for being here, Rusty. Enjoy the evening. Ooh, what's this guy? Guns out? Ooh, watch out. Neighbors are gonna be. No. That costs money. That's right. Those things are cheap. Gosh, they're like, I don't know what they run nowadays. Aren't they like, I think when I was buying them, they were like $300-$400 for the kit. I just like that everything was in there. They got their tray. But I tell you what, if you if you tip that puppy up without that flap down, what a mess those things make. What a mess. It's almost like a lot of times when I'm working, I'm always like, there's like certain things. It's like my nut and bolt bin. I'm like, don't touch that. My Swedge tools, don't touch that. When I put it on the ground, just leave it. Do not touch it. I will do it because I'd rather it be me picking it up because I've heard that too many times in the background. And it's like, son of a, it's like, oh my gosh. And that is just a nightmare to clean up. Millwright, huh? That's what Rich said. He says, as a jack of all trades. So, okay, I got it. Rich has got here. He's got 16 ounce is a hammer. Duh. Sorry, a little slow. That's pretty. Let's see what's over here on this other one. Is it Steven? He says it's is it a ticketed trade, very broad. Anything from hydraulic. Oh, well, just kind of like what Rich was saying. Conveyors, augers, pumps, motors. Fix quite a lot of commercial doors. Thinking of going on my own. Ooh, interesting. You know, man, I tell you, it's it's just one of those things. I see Rich is on here, or Rusty. I'm sorry. He says something on here. He goes, we got a dumpster. He says, but fire is free. What you need to do is get yourself a wood boiler or a fireplace, and then you can heat your house with it. But anywho, I'm sorry I pronounced him about, but with Steven, it's just one of those things. And hey, we got 5 likes. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. It's just my opinion, right? My opinion. I just don't think right now is a good time. I don't think it's ever a bad time, right? I don't think it's ever a bad time to possibly start, the after hour weekend hustles. I think that's a bad, you know what I mean? And get your feet wet. But when I've been talking to, we had the video, was it yesterday, I think, with Peter. He had some questions and he's back. So, like the big thing is getting the stuff set up for like the EIN number. That's important. Kind of getting your ducks in a row. Like, kind of when I went in, I ended up, I literally just, I just, it was one of those things, man. I was so good that, and I basically always, I was working probably realistically, and that's the thing. So here's a little background, right? So I probably jumped in too fast at one point, right? Because I started in 2006, right when the whole collapse was happening. And like I said, the 2006, it was so saturated. And all you had to do is just sneeze it, like you did garage doors. All you had to do is wear a hat, and people were like tracking you down in the store. You get like 3 people. You do garage doors, you do garage doors. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, when could you get me one? They're like, my other guy, he's 6 weeks out. And I'm like, I could do one like probably next week. And they were just like, and we were about the same. We were about 50-50 near as many customers, but we. Then the club started happening. I remember I was watching the stock market every day. Stock market down, stock market down, stock market down. And it was amazing to me. What I learned through that was that the residential people are the most scaredy cats of scaredy cats, right? They just, not that it's wrong, but it's just they automatically shut down. They watch the mainstream media, they watch the news, and they're just like, it's ending. Oh my gosh, and like they don't spend any money. So we ended up, like I said, we were kind of 50 commercial, we were 50 and then we ended up, the residential just died off. It just completely died off. But the commercial stayed in it longer, right? Because a lot of this stuff was already planned for being built. It was already in the midst of, red steel and buildings and roofing and stuff going. So that buffered us out for about 3 years. But about within 3 years after the collapse, kind of in the 07, 08, you started seeing the commercial starting to catch up. Like the one place we worked for was Herman Miller. They make office furniture and big outfit. And I remember, we used to go in there all the time, and there'd be this guy just sitting there, like 6, 8 of them, just sitting in their little booths, little cubicles, just playing games. And I was like, what the heck are we doing here? Like, look at these guys. And at the end of that 3 years, right, there was now it was down to 2. One was a seasoned guy, one was a new guy. And guess what the new guy was doing? The new guy had to, drive me around supposedly in the scissor lift. Why he kept asking me questions after questions. And I even asked him one time, I said, are you taking my job? And he goes, no, I'm curious. I'm just sitting here, I'm bored, blah, blah. And sure enough, we got kind of, he could do our job now. So that building was covered by him now. So, and then it seemed like it took 5 years for the residential to start picking back up. Like I was going there and people were like, yeah, I got to finally get this replaced. Dude, this thing needed to be replaced 3-5 years ago. But obviously they parked outside, the car's a lease. You know, and that's why it's like people take care of their roofs before they'll take care of garage doors. You know, they can park outside, they'll use the manual, they'll put a tarp over their snow blower, lawnmower, things like that. So that's just something. So that's why, like right now, you know, to see who's the next administration, and you know, and so for me, I did it for about a year, you know, and then we hit the 07, 08 stuff was collapsing, man, super hard. I remember I ended up, I literally had to, I had to go back to one of my jobs that I really despised, factory job, and um, and I remember it was hard, man. It was super hard. I was going in. I remember being like, you know, on the phone with the customer, right? The customer's not the worst time. You know what I mean? Like I'm like literally walking into my second shift job or whatever. You know, customer's phone's ringing. I'm like, yes, yes. I'm like, I got to get over to this clock. I got to clock in. I'm going to be late. You know, okay, okay. I'm like literally writing on the wall or a box. You know, people are like walking past. What is this fruitcake doing? You know, and I'm like, take a picture of it. So I'll be like, okay, we'll plan on getting out there. I had to have the whole schedule in my head. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, tomorrow we're not real busy. We can fit a broken spring in there. You know, so okay, we'll be over there probably 9 to 10 tomorrow. Blah 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 blah. It's gonna be probably, you know, and you know, doing stuff like that. And then there was a point where one of our customers, bill racked up. You know, we were starting out of $10,000. I didn't realize until my business partner said, "Hey, man, this guy, we can't do no more work for him." And he was a great paying customer until he got him. And my business partner had to go back and work a place that he used to work at. Wasn't fun. And I had to run the whole show by myself, man. And I mean, you talk about hustling. I mean, I took every call. I didn't care if it was 20 bucks I was going to make. I took the call, you know. Yep, we'll do it. Blah, 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 blah. Only make 20 bucks. I don't care. I got to pay back this debt. This truck's got to keep moving. So it's a real hustle out there. Do, 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 do. It is tough. But that's why, like right now, I get that weird feeling again that we're kind of in that weird. All it would take is for, you know, possibly, you know, I have no idea, you know, if China was to invade Taiwan, what kind of war that would cause. I don't know what that would, um, you know, I'm a little bit obviously they're lowering the interest rates for themselves for the U debt, and that that's gonna reaccelerate inflation. And I don't know about you guys, but when you got kids to feed, and I also, um, yeah, you know, I'd be like one of those old people, like my parents. You know, I don't know all these kids, you know, but it's like you still look at it. And it's like I don't know how, you know, the kids nowadays aren't even old enough, or even my kids are going to afford like a house. You know what I mean? This stuff is just. I mean, these cars are ridiculous. You know, and the thing is, I'm all about like I'm game for paying money, right? I'm game for that. I want something that's a good value, right? Like if they're building cars now, they're like, man, you're spending, you know, 30, $40,000, and the car's gonna last 20 plus years. Sure, sure. You know, it's got nice technology, it's got nice stuff that's just not making it. Um, some of the stuff we're installing, the products are changing, which are out of our control. We don't even get to vote on it. That's what ticks me off. That's why I'm always like, I guess it's like that saying, right? You got to kind of vote with your dollars. They just obviously LiftMaster, right? They're going back to J50 for a little bit. You know, obviously something clicked in there. I love it. Tony has no that cost. Did I put Rich up here? Jack of all trades. 16-ounce hammer. I think I might have done that one. Rusty has. We got a dumpster. Maybe Rusty's got to pay though. Pay per dump or something. You know, when they come. We just have I think they come weekly, which works out pretty good. You used to have problems with Raccoons. You know, if you did bi-weekly, darn Raccoons will get in there. Had a few of those stuck in them. It's always a bummer. Evan says, it's definitely very slow business wise right now. Yeah, I'm getting the feeling, like I said, I got some stuff online too. And it just, something's not out there. Like I said, I think they're propping up the market. you know, they're just, like I said, why wouldn't they, right? It's an election. I mean, it's always about the economy, stupid. And they don't want to, nobody wants to have a bad track record on their watch, so they're just going to keep stuff looking good for the moment until the next one. What's Rich got? It says vote every love. What was that? Rich Tony says, Rich, what was that? I said, I missed it. That one's redirected. So, like I said, was Steve in there? I hope, like I said, hope that kind of helps out. I just don't think I would jump. Like I said, it's not that I wouldn't do anything. That's the thing. It's not that I wouldn't do anything. I would start getting, I'd get my EIN number. I would start looking at, talk to your, what your insurance just to see, but residential, you're not going to really, you don't have to jump into it. Or if you're doing commercial, you have $1 million coverage policy. They might have you have some out for your vehicle. Some companies want that. I see it says the Lost. He's on their platform. Says, I don't gain the world and lose your soul. He says wisdom is better than silver and gold. Ooh, silver and gold, good. Good for against inflation, though, right? Hedge against inflation. Better than that dollar. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, Evan says, I'm on track to buy a house within the next couple of years, but I still have to live at home for $100 a month because rent is ridiculous in Cali. Yeah, well, Evan, I'm kind of glad you brought that up because just remember, so you're not the only one. I'm not gonna point them out, right? But I got family members, nephews, right? I got nephews, and they're great. What do you call them? Is it Bella indicators? They're great because they're at that age, right? We're talking anywhere from like 18 to 24, and it's yeah, I tell you, it's I don't know, man. It breaks my heart because some of them have served, right? And I feel like some of these people, these people that serve, right? They should have. I mean, you get out, you should be given at least a small house. That's the way you should be given a small house. You should have damn good health care, and you should have enough money to come out. You can buy a pretty decent, nice vehicle, right? I've watched Top Gun, darn it, and he was living high in the kite there. I'm just saying. But I've seen some that have left the nest. Some have come back, and when I hear what their rent is, and I mean, it's like what rent is, and then by the time you try to buy a house, and then like what makes me always nervous about the whole situation is obviously like there's some things like obviously you can fight it, but how much time do you have? It's kind of like, to me, it's always like stress. Yeah, good luck. I mean, they can just print as much money as they ever want. Good luck. You better paying the fees or whatever and move on probably. But you look at it and I just go, property taxes you can't control, right? Neighbor's house and everything else and blah blah. Like, it's ridiculous to me that the fact that obviously if you make it to your house, we want that right away so we can up your tax value. Insurance is getting both home and car. So there's a lot of things that are rigged against you. Sometimes it's like that whole thing, right? Less is more. So just to think about. Vote early. That's right. Tony says, I'll be in Florida. Yeah, Florida. Vote in both places. There you go. Love it. What we got over here? Nothing. This side, you guys are quiet. Let's see here. What's Tony got? If I could, I know who I vote for. He says he already showed me he could handle the job. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Somebody over here, what is this? Honey Badger says, is this the dark web? It can be whatever you want, whatever you can imagine. Donut, Rich has got the thumbs up. But no, so I'm just kind of, I'm still thinking about, I'm thinking like Evan, like I said, if anybody, anybody starting out there, you just got to keep your head up. You got to keep hustling. You got to keep grinding. You just got to keep moving. It's like I said, right now, I don't think it's a good time. I feel like I even seen it with Mr. T, right? If you kind of think about it, I was talking to the wife, and there is like that whole lame ducks, like when, like I was bummed, right? I was a little bit bummed when the cough syndrome came around. And Mr. T, I kept thinking, okay, Mr. T, come on, man, he's a businessman, and what grinds me is that none of these people treat us like adults. That's what ticks me off, because I look at it and I go, there's something bad happening. I get that, right? There's something horrible, and hey, I lost a few friends, but their health, there was some underlying health issues too. It was bad. It was bad. But to close things down, I think was like a beta test. And I think it wasn't the right thing. I'd rather people come out and say, look, we got a problem. And don't give me this crap that we can solve it, right? Because I'm going to fear, right? But here's the thing. We can't cure male baldness, right? We still don't have a cure for cancer, which I feel horrible about. I really wish we, but yeah, we can make something, right? We can make something in X amount of time. That's the solution. Okay. You know what I mean? Like it just, so anyway, and I go, look, give us the commandments of like, make sure you wash your hands. Make sure, like, if like I kept thinking, like the restaurants, I kept thinking, why are we closing this down? Like, make me sign a waiver. You know what the risk is of coming in here. You know what I mean? Yeah, I do. I know what the risk is when I go to Cedar Point's, and I ride the ripcord, right? They make you sign a waiver that if the thing breaks or you sling off it and you die, you won't sue them or whatever, right? I mean, yeah, I got it. But it just, boy, it threw a real wrench in stuff. You know what I mean? It was horrible. And I hope it's like, now it's like, what's next? What's next? Oh, how often? Never. That's right. Riches. Cancer is a big business. It is. I mean, you think about it, right? These hospitals, how big they, and that's why I think it's still whole, the whole follow the money. Follow the money. That's really what it comes down to. It's always follow the money. The military industrial complex. It's just, it's sad. It's sad. That's why I really like The Matrix, the movie, because I feel like there's something to that. That we're a battery cell. You know what I mean? They're trying to always, they're always trying to get money. You go into the stores, you go into Sam's, I don't know if Costco does it. Maybe Tony can tell me. You go to Costco, he's got the free things, right? Of course, you got a kid with you. Oh, mom, dad, I love it. Can I get something? Fine. Here's a box of whatever, the end caps, just everything. Online, your phone. I really think what's going to happen, I could be wrong. I could be wrong with this. I think what needs to happen, to be honest, is I think we need to go back. Well, I think it was only like somebody said, like maybe 50 years ago, maybe 100 years ago. Basically everybody used to be a farmer, and everybody pretty much grew their own food. I think we're gonna have to go back. It's funny because, right, I was talking to the wife. I told her, I said, can you get this all year round? This is actually 100%. Because I thought, man, this stuff is sweet. It tastes damn good. I was like, it's got sugar or something in it. And it says right here, 100% apple cider. That's it? And it tastes that damn good? Well, sign me up. Good stuff, man. But you got to remember, right? A lot of stuff we're eating and stuff is poison, you know. So I always like the one ingredient, and I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I'm not a saint. Don't I make mistakes and do all kinds of crazy stuff too, but we really got to watch it, man. And I'm sad to see all these companies or these small mom and pops that are trying to do, and they get shut down. They're making, you know, milk, you know, cheese, you know, stuff for people that's probably better. I mean, then look at it too, right? Even what the gov has that they regulate, right? Was it McDonald's got something, you know, some kind of, you know, they got all kinds of problems too. And it's like, well, who's, you know, why aren't they shutting those places down? Can them throw all their stuff and shut the business down? They have to be all sterilized. They won't. Drug companies, they make millions, all the kickbacks. I had a guy that used to work for me. Oh, Tony jumped on. I see he's on the asking Nate. I think Tony, he's trying to find himself a worker. I forgot what I was going to say. The big companies. Oh, so I had a guy. That's what it was. I literally had a guy that used to work at the hospital here in town. And so I was with him, and I was like, hey, I was like, what did you, you know, and he said, well, he said, actually, he said that I loved how he kind of described it. He goes, so this is kind of how the hospital works. He goes, maybe the doctor believes in Tylenol. He says, but the hospital only sells aspirin. That they have a contract with, whatever. So he has to prescribe everything as aspirin. Even though he believes in Tylenol is better, he has to go with aspirin. And I was like, that's a very interesting way of putting that. I can, you know, so he said that's sometimes what into. I know they get kickbacks. They get all kinds of weird stuff. So it wasn't enough. Evan says might grab a McTrump's. Yeah, that's funny, dude. I love it. I love it. Boy, they are eating that them doing that McDonald's thing, huh? Man, they're eating that thing up. I just started Lord of Wars. I didn't ever watch much of that. I think that's my wife's her side of the family was into that pretty heavy. I should catch up. I don't know. Are they still even doing the Lord of Wars? That's right, Rich's guy. Just stay away from the Quarterpounder. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I love it. I love it. Oh, what's it got? Ooh, it's blurry. What do I do? I'm not a doctor. I can't give you advice on what to do about your eye. If it's blurry, that's for sure. But no, so like for Evan though, honestly, like I said, if the parents, whoever, partners, I don't know what it is. You know, I was telling one of my nephews, I said, you know, honestly, I said I would stay there as long as you can. Honestly, save as much money, squirrel it away. You know, there's some things I really wish what I would have known, I would have been taught when I was younger. I think honestly, if you're a younger lad or lady, you, I mean, I shouldn't. It's a double-edged sword, right? Oh, penguins, yeah. Squirrel. But anywho, you know, I mean, you're fighting a lot of demons out there, right? Inflation, things have gone up, but like I said, if you can stay, roll the money away, and probably try to invest some of it. See, I wish I would have done more investing from the get-go. You know, dividend stocks. Just keep investing, right? Because to that whole system, I don't really like believe in it. So I got to stay kind of somewhat diversified. But obviously it keeps going up. They keep ramping it up. All new time highs. And obviously, like with Elon, right, Musk, his Tesla and stuff like that, he uses those stocks, right? He takes money against them in a sense, so he doesn't have to pay taxes. So he wants that thing to keep going up. New invention, new this, new that. You got to keep it all pumped up. So, like I said, if you can take the money, and honestly, if I was to go into a house nowadays, I'd probably a guy that used to work for me, pretty smart dude. He built a duplex, brand new. I installed the garage doors for him years ago. But he was like, yeah, he's like, I'm gonna live in this side, I'm gonna rent the other side. And I was like, that's sweet. Like, that's a good idea. And then that way he can move out. And now he's got basically 2 rentals under one roof, property. And he can move on to another one. Either he could do another duplex. He could just buy, maybe, 3-plex or 4-plex. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. You know what I mean? But if you stay diversified, just remember that everything is typically, but we don't understand that we have all these depreciating assets. I mean, you think about everything we purchase, right? I mean, everything is like yard sale items after you purchase it. You buy a brand new hunt suit, you buy a brand new bow, maybe guns kind of hold their value. Shouldn't use that. Say that word. You buy a car, it depreciates, the carpet, the furniture, the clothing, appliances, right? It all just keeps, now you can do, there's certain things you can do for tax advantages and stuff on that, but you got to know it. But like I said, if you can invest, be smart, don't get into debt. I know there was a gentleman, name him, that was reaching out to me. I think he got up, I think it was like a 14,000 car payment. And he turned the car back in. And he was saying that it's not off his credit. And I said, well, I told him, I said, the long story short, is I said, you probably should pay it off. But see, now you're getting that weird fudge factor, right? Because now if you start paying it, what if they don't start showing it? You already turned the vehicle, supposedly they're gonna erase it or take it off or not go after them. But that's a ding against your credit, right? Your credit is, work on that credit, and and it's really hard, especially when you're young. I did it, right? I think a lot of us do it. You got to remember to, just remember those things they're just toys, right? They're depreciating assets. I had the same thing even when I bought a house, right? The banker, well, it's the biggest asset you'll ever buy. Biggest asset. They never puts a drop of money in my pocket. They always need a roof, windows, the driveway needs to get fixed, the plumbing, the hot water tank goes. Asset, it's the whole Robert Kiyosaki, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Does it put money in your pocket? Or does it take money out of your pocket? So you just got to be kind of smart about that. Oh, interesting. What do we got? Lord of Wars, the movie. I'm going to have to watch that. A lot of the truth there. Interesting. I'm gonna have to watch that. I don't know if I for sure, I might have seen clips, but not the whole thing. So thanks for bringing that up, Rich. Yeah, no kidding. Is it Pelosi? Yeah, follow her. You'll be set, no doubt. No doubt. What do they get, like a 22-day or 23-day like head start or something before they got to release what they've changed or done? The system is rigged. So rigged. But honestly, it's kind of sad. I don't know if people ever, it's weird to think about, but could you really think, does anybody really think that the country will ever change in a sense, kind of for the better? Because obviously these people are working for them, right? They're not working for the people. They lie to us. They, what I think about is how many people, right? It was amazing, in a nutshell, how many people, complied, right? We had to wear diapers on our face. Now, don't get me wrong, I did too, to go into certain places, right? Just to get in, to do what I had to do for business. But, it was really sad. We're like, and they were just, man, they were pummeling people, man, the restaurants. Oh. So it's like, if they can do that, and people won't just like, could you imagine if we seen like 3/4 of the people were like, yeah, I'm a grown adult. Like, you ain't gonna treat me this way. Like, I just kept thinking, what if they like that your farts are contaminated and you gotta wear a full-size adult diaper? Like, how many people would do it? That's why I kept thinking, like, how many people are gonna do it? Don't mean to get political. I don't know. I was planning to buying a plot of land, buying one Amazon prefab houses, build detached garage, then sell it and get a real house. Ooh, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Different ways, I think for you, Evan. I like I said, I'm not a Cali person. but I know it seems like they are very stringent. I don't know if you're going to try to move out of that area. I think one guy, I think he started cracking down on this a little bit too. One guy I knew over there, he was following a motocross guy, and so they were stationed over there for quite a while, a couple of years or something. But he was doing a boat. He did a boat, and I thought that's pretty cool. He says that way he only had to pay to hook up to a buoy or whatever, and he didn't have to pay taxes, things like that. Now, obviously, that's with the weather, and if your life can accommodate it. But you know what the beautiful thing is? Oops, my battery is dying in this. Is the beautiful thing about it is that young man. I mean, you really are invincible. You know what I mean? You bounce back fast. It's if you start getting tied down like with the ladies can do some stuff to you, and especially if you get one, get one prego, things change, man. Things change. Not saying it's the end of the world, but things change big time. You got responsibilities. But like one of my nephews, I kept saying, I told him, I said, man, like, so we got a hunting property, right? I could live up in that thing. Like I literally could, like, and so the properties are pretty cheap. There's a lot of land. You probably don't need that much land, honestly. Cause there's I think it's about 50 acres, and it's, you know what I mean? But you got a well, you got electric pole, you got a heater. It's got a roof over the trailer itself, so it's protected. But you can live really frugal. Now, the problem that you run into is your travel, right? So whatever you're doing for work. So if you can find like a local, whatever, work for a local door company or Amish or whatever, keep your travels down, right? That's one thing too, that when you're young, people seem to forget about is the travel. I was one of them, right? It's like, I want to drive. I love driving, right? Well, I'm sure you do, but I remember there was time to make trips, right? I want to go up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I realized that I was like, I can't do it. Like I don't got a couple $100 right now for a hotel room. I don't have the money for the gas. So, but when you think about it, right? If you add another 10 minutes onto your drive, that's more 10 minutes that you're not getting paid for your drive, all this kind of stuff, the wear and tear, more chances of getting an accident, blah, blah, blah. So you got to really think smart. That's all. I was always, I was under the Clinton, right? When I was starting out with the Clinton administration, and it just seemed like the world was on fire. There was nothing you could do wrong. I remember I could walk into a bank. I could basically just hand down and be like, I want a loan. And they'd be like, okay. And they'd say, well, for how much? And I'd be like, I want, 5,000. I'm going to go buy a truck. And I want 10,000. They would just hand it out like candy. But then there was a time, I had so much stuff, right? The camper, I had the wave runners, and then I'm also working that you hit a point where you're just like, man, I can't even use these things because I'm working so much. I take care of these things. So, if you just start, real slow, everything, think about it. Like I said, don't make decisions, the first initial, unless it's a super great deal and you can't lose it. You know what I mean? Like when I purchased a home, right? The guy wanted, I think it was 175,000 or something. On a handshake. I got it on a Saturday. He said, if you don't want it, I'm putting it on the market Monday. Deal of a deal. Because everything I was looking at was all 250 to 300. And so I said, I did the gentleman's handshake. And I said, unless the bank says no, I said, otherwise I'll plan on taking. I didn't even have consent from my wife-a-tron or anybody. I just made the plunge. And it worked out. You know what I mean? It made money. Rich says, but that's a pretty cool idea about the Amazon. But the thing is, that stuff you can get neutered. What I always talk about. Let me go back to this for the problem is that you can do all that, but sometimes, man, I tell you what, the regulations and township and zoning, like we had up north, like you couldn't have a porta john anymore that had a hole in it that went in the ground. The township cracked down, and this one lady even told me, she's like, I can't even believe they came back. She's like, I'm in the woods, and now we can't have this. Been there for 30 some years, a porta, an outhouse with a hole in the ground. And now it has to be a sealed container. I mean, so the townships always are trying to find a way to get money out of you. I remember even at the trailer, right? We had a trailer up there that was falling apart before, before we purchased it, and it got it pulled out of there. Well, since it's not really like kind of could be a homestead, should lower the taxes, right? So anyways, do all that stuff, right? They knock it down $30. Woohoo, $30. But now the next year they come back and they say, oh, now you got a $10 camp fee. What? There's never been a camping fee. You know what I mean? Oh, it's just because we never enforced, because there's a trailer there that's that's not moving. And then what is it now? I think it's like $30. So they got their money back. Rich says if the swamp gets drained, I don't know, Rich, man. I mean, you know how it is. Don't get me wrong. I like T. I like Mr. T. I hope he gets in there. He's a better coach, I think. But he was already in there, and he didn't get he didn't get Hill, or he didn't get locked up. I'm a little disappointed. Rich says, there he goes. Says Boat is smart. He says no property taxes. Exactly. That was one of the things, like, for everybody should know. I remember when I was really heavy into reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki books, and I recommend, honestly, if you're a young lad, you can go online and listen to them. You can do what is it, the Audible? You can listen to them, whatever. If you like doing that, or just buy the books, whatever. And they are great to open up your mind, and that's what they'll do. They'll open up your mind and highly, like, pay attention. I read some of the other ones. They're a little more off. Like the main Rich Dad Poor Dad book, the originals. There's a couple originals, I think, that are the main ones. I still remember when I read that book, and it said, taxes is the highest thing you'll ever pay in life. I mean, I was so mad. I went, this person is so stupid. I said, I just bought a house. My first house was $8,000. And I went, I just spent $82,000 on a house. And what is this guy, an idiot? Was telling me taxes is the highest thing I'll ever pay. And as I've gotten older, with more gray hairs, it really is true. It's like termites. I mean, you think about it. You got a car. You got to pay taxes on it. You buy a car. There's taxes on it again for somebody or whatever. Transaction. You got to put plates on it. There's taxes on it. You got electric bill. There's taxes on it. You got property tax. I mean, you got just insurance. There's taxes on that. You get electric or a heat bill. There's taxes on that. It's tax. They tax the hell out of you. And then the problem is too is, like you get your paycheck, right? What's that got? They take taxes. I mean, it's horrible. It really is. What's Evan got? The one thing that scares me about Mr. T returning to Washington as a Canadian close to the border is people in Toronto freak out and reelect Castro, bastard. Canadian love child for the fifth time. Yeah. Man, I don't know. That's a good one though. I don't know. Like I said, I'm really just becoming a believer now that the whole thing is rigged. It doesn't really matter. Like, I feel like it's like we're going down this path, and you might get like a little off. Like you go off for a break. It's like going off into a gas station. That's why, like, even in the Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad Poor Dad book, he always talks about like the highway and a vehicle, and I think that's what life is. I mean, that's why sometimes, depending on what you do, right? I mean, everything we do. Sometimes if you're let's say if you're a roofer, you're probably doing bigger numbers of money. If you're a real estate broker, you're probably dealing with bigger money, you know what I mean? More money volume coming through you, right? That's a vehicle to me. If you're, guy that picks up manure, you only got so much you can work with, right? Let's say for doggy doo in the people's yards, right? Because people are only going to pay so much. That's a vehicle. But like I said, everything is a vehicle in my head. And I think we go off a little bit. We get a little break. This is kind of nice, whatever. But like I said, what got me not too long ago is I was reading something, and they said, what's nice about sometimes with kings and queens is they want to leave things better for their children. And I thought, I can kind of relate with that. You know what I mean? Because everyone's always kind of off. You think about it, the whole world, every country, everybody, right, cares about, that's one thing. Everybody cares about their children. And with them caring for their children, right, but when you think about it, these people that get elected, they only got 4 years. They only get 4 years. 4 years goes by like that, right? And, when it's towards the end, it's just reelect. See, for him, it's, Who are they gonna leave? And what throws me, what still throws me is like, hey, like if I was in power like that, maybe you can't, whatever. I think I mentioned this before, but why would you not have one of your offsprings, like the junior, you know what I mean? Your VP, you know, I mean that's just me how I would think as like a man, right? Like if somebody whacked me, I'd want my kid. You know, my kid's my closest thing. He believes my values, blah blah blah. But they don't. And then the problem is too is what gets me is the fact that none of the people, none of their kids are in the front lines. You know what I mean? Like, never mind. What's up? What's up, Tony guys? Dave, they were giving people 3 times our freaking salary. I mean, I tell you, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so crazy what's going on. So crazy, so sad. But like I said, you know, I look at it and I go, that's, I mean, unless somebody can, I mean, you can always put into what you think, but you know, I'm a small fish. I'm a very small fish, right? In this huge, huge, huge ocean. And when I look at it and I go, if I was a huge corporate person, right? I'm a Elon, I'm a Zuckerberg, I'm a Bezo, whatever, Bozo. I'm could you imagine? Right? If you're running Amazon, could you imagine that, like, how you'd want to find, like, like, if you could just do robots, you'd be like, I do robots. You know what I mean? Less theft, less not showing problems, sickness, disease, whatever, right? Like, that's how these people, and so if we can bring in, these other people that work harder, maybe don't complain as much. Whoa, sure. Now, I'm not saying it's right by any means. You know what I mean? I think it's all craziness. But, and then if we can get maybe a vote too, and then, there's a thing with the whole population declining because people aren't having as many kids. And see, like I said, there's something behind the scenes that it's like a battery cell, that they want that more, that generation of the more people, right? Everything is debt. That's why we'll never pay off our debt. The national debt, that'll never get paid off. We live on a debt society. So that's why a lot of people don't understand too. Sometimes, right, you can use debt for good things. There's good debt and there's bad debt. And you have to, if you base debt with the good debt, you don't pay taxes, right? And the beautiful thing to some degree is that if you if you have debt, see, now I haven't heard anybody, like, I don't know how this quite works. I haven't heard anybody that I went to a customer and they said, well, they're taking back my house, unless they don't pay. I get that. But I never heard anybody ever say they're suing and they're going after my house. They're going to take my house because they got to go to the bank, right? So it's like, it's almost like weird, right? Intuitive, right? Like typically you'd want to pay off your house. That's kind of, and I could see why you would. I could see why your house, maybe you don't want to pay the insurance anymore. You want to have it free and clear. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But if you're running some thousands, $100,000s to $1 million businesses, right? And all of a sudden something messes up, and now somebody's coming after you, and they go, "Oh, see, they got this. They got multiple cars. They got houses. They got a cabin. A summer cabin. What's the old attorney gonna do? We're gonna go after them. We're all of that from them. But if it's basically all debt, go for it. I just been paying rent. Go for it. Take it. Deal with the bank. Have fun." Tony says, if they would been giving me all kinds of money as said at home too, he says, yeah, man, I tell you. He says, he'll be in, buddy. I get it, man. Evans guy says, do Americans pay attention to our elections? Pay attention to ours even if we never lived there? I don't know. You know what I mean? I think it's pretty sad to see what's kind of happened. I was kind of hoping maybe Mr. T would even talk about you know, how they kind of bamboozled, like that was kind of what happened last time. And it was going to be like, hey, everybody needs to go in, go in. But like I said, I kind of don't have a lot of faith in it. I really don't, because I look at it and I go, you know, until it's like at VFWs and it's grandmas and grandpas that are tallying them up, which I would trust them more than any robot, computer, system, software. And they're tallying them up and they're sending them. And I could go VFW after VFW and I could talk to them and say, hey, what did you see? You cut them up. And be like, well, actually, I kind of, you know, so you know what I mean? Like I believe in I believe more, even if it was the churches, I don't care. I believe the churches more. I mean, it's sad where it's like you know, I'd rather get moonshine guy and I would take my chances more that I'm gonna go blind with that than the crap I'm getting in the grocery store. You know what I mean? Like, because I trust him more. He's gonna say, like, because he has something in how do you say it? Like, he has some lose the business or something. You know, I won't come back. I won't be a repeat customer. I won't recommend him. You know, I say his stuff tastes like crap. You know, but like this, right? You know, like this company right here, you know, they make a damn good product. I want more. You know what I mean? And it's got one ingredient, which is amazing. And it's not pasteurized. It's amazing. Whoa. Threw you guys off a little bit there. Okay, so Rich says, what's the guy? Says, on your operator today, did you have to run? So I did run the wires. I ran them up. I didn't do the Rich B special down the tube. Rich was nice enough to send me some pictures and maybe a video. Was it a video even? Showed me how he got it down the tube and how he got it all put together. And tell you, I don't know if you know this, Rich, or not, but Tony talking about either. So Tony got on board with it too now about how to put it down the tube. So great idea, really good idea. Now the question is, Rich knows, maybe he don't. Can you do it down the Genies? Have you done it down the Genie openers? Because they got the tubes that if you buy from the box store. And can anybody tell me? I didn't pay attention. I'm so sorry. I haven't paid attention. But can you buy the screwdrives? Can you buy the Genie screwdrives still from the box store? Can you buy them from those? Menards probably not, it's my guess, or Home Depot. I haven't looked. I haven't paid attention. I just kind of glance in there and I go, oh, to be honest with you, I glance at the Chamberlain, or not Chamberlain. I see the Craftsman. You know, that's what I do. I just I go, what is that? Is that a Guardian? Is that a Chamberlain? I go, I got burned on that one job. Like I went, I don't know what that is. Don't use Craftsman. They're in a glut, you know, because I hear somebody, I think they switched back over to Chamberlain versus a Guardian. But what I want to know is, I'm like, can you still get the screwdrives just right from the box store? You got to order them, special order them. I haven't paid attention because I like me some screwdrives, man. I really like the screwdrives. I just feel like they're so universal. I love them. Dang, we had 8 likes tonight. My goodness. The one on the phone, boy, it got hit hard. It got hit hard. A lot of weird stuff in there. We had Silly Goose on here. He says, should I order Taco Bell? This one got hit hard. Evans guy says, Tony, where are you paying business? You first got the storage container. Ooh, Tony. That's a question for Tony. Business taxes. You first got. That's kind of a, you know, it all kind of depends on what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can kind of stay under the radar for a little while, and then you kind of bump up depending on what you do. You know, obviously, like I said, not legal advice, just some random dude on YouTube. Oh, Evans got on here too. Can't buy a Genie screwdriver from my local Home Depot. Son of a biscuit. Right. That's a bummer about the screwdriver. So Tony's got, he says, yes, Evan. He says, I was paying taxes for my business, not in the structure though. So, which makes sense. You know, they different. So like, for instance, Evan, for us, at the shop, we can't have shipping containers there because we're commercial. We're not industrial. Industrial, you can. So we can't have shipping containers. We're not supposed to have semi-truck trailers. We can have enclosed trailers. So there's all these little things, I tell you, that you learn. And that's why I'm sometimes, out of sight, I mind. You know what I mean? So if you can be back in the woods, or, you can possibly lease something, as you're growing and you got money too. That might be a good possibility because, for instance, like I found out, right? I thought this was ridiculous, right? This is our government hard at work. I put a sign a few years back, right? I bought one of those flags that says now hiring, and I don't know, 2 or 3 days later, 4 days, 7 days, whatever it was, in the mail from the township that says, you're in violation. You're not allowed to have any flags or signs out in front of your building. Okay. And it's one of those things I'm thinking, you crooked bastards. I'm thinking, I'm trying to hire employees in your town. You know what I mean? It's a now hiring sign. It ain't like we're giving free popcorn or, free rides here. And so I had to take it down. And then it was like a year later, something like that. Now they're going to allow you to have signs or banners, but you got to pay $25 for that permit. So I knew there was a possibility I could get busted for putting, like, they would consider it something, a signage or whatever. Because I'd take a piece of dunnage or an old garage door panel that was damaged, and I would spray paint on it. Right, I'd spray paint a size garage door. I'd put a couple sawhorses out there, and I'd put a used 16x7, was the most common one, garage door out for sale. And those sold pretty good for hotcakes. They sold a couple $100, $200-300 depending on conditions. And I started kind of thinking, they might flag me or something. So I put it on a trailer. Right? It's on a trailer now. But if it's on the ground or it's a sign or whatever, but if it's on a trailer with wheels, hey man, it's on a trailer. You know what I mean? I know they even had something that never busted me on it, but they were talking about it. That if you parked a vehicle, it had to be in your name. You know what I mean? So just like that, townships are all different. It's just nobody's out there typically trying to help you. I can about guarantee that. So you just, like I said, everything you get into, that's why sometimes I like existing homes because, when you start to build something, even like when I was building out the shop, I had to take a $30,000 to finish the shop because there were certain things, what was crafty about the builder or the inspector, right? He goes, and I was young, I was green, and he goes, just put on a piece of paper everything you would want. You know what I mean? How you'd want it, and I'm like, okay. So I did it. I laid everything out, a couple garage doors here, office here, blah, 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 right? So they took that and they said, we'll give you a permit. We start getting into it. I'm starting to run, I'm getting it built out. I'm getting to be that point where I'm like, okay, we're good, but I need to start making some more money, doing the garage stuff. And they're like, oh, you can't finish this project because you're not done yet. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I just wanted concrete floors. That's not finished floor. What do you mean? So, nope, it's got to be finished. It's either going to be painted, tile, but I just want concrete. We're a bunch of dirty men, dirty boots. Like, I just want concrete, easy cleaning. Nope, it's got to be finished. So I had to take out that to finish. The bathroom had to get moved from where it originally was going to be. So plumbing, build out, it had to be ADA compliant. That was because where I had it wasn't going to take up very much room. And I remember the guy even told me, he goes, they made me do the same thing. He goes, how many people I've had come to my place? I was like, I don't know. He's like, 0. And I'm like, oh my gosh. This one. Whoops, clicked off. I got to release some demons out. Oh, good for you. Taco Bell. Tony said I'm not paying taxes on the business yet. And if you're small, like I said, don't fear it too much because you got to remember to, your business name when you were born, you are a business. That's how the government, you're a business. And that's, you got your social security number because they want you to, be a citizen. which some people don't know. I think it says in the definition of it, like, what citizen is actually a slave. So anytime you're checking, I'm a citizen, that's basically like you're a slave, and something to think about. Smart structure isn't permanent. What's a smart structure? I don't think I really know. Is that something crazy? That's why, like, if you can do like I got I was gonna do some enclosed trailers because they can't gripe about that, but you get more storage. So like, there was a company that built kayaks, right? And they had a piece of property out a little ways away in town. I mean, just acres. I mean, this thing 100 acres, and it was full of semi truck trailers, and they would fill those things up with kayaks. And I remember the guy saying one time, he goes, he says, they don't like it. He says, because I'm not building a huge building and then paying property taxes. They're not being taxed for having semi trailers out there. So it was kind of interesting. I think he was selling them. They don't do it anymore, I don't think, because they went under. But he was, they were selling them to Walmart. On the storage container I had sitting along, he says I-69, which is a busy highway, big old banner on the side of it. Oh man, the city made me move it. Boogers, damn township. I tell you this. That's what I mean. That's why I'm telling some of the guys, probably like Evan, and the younger guys, stay small, keep it all, and just do what you can, because you can build a vortex, and now you got to feed this vortex, right? So just be smart, stay mobile. All this stuff is anchors. You got to remember, like, when you buy a house, that's a big investment, man. I mean, that's, it's good if you ever want to sell it. You got to prep it, you got to clean it, you got to fix it up, you got to do, I mean, there's just huge amounts, especially when you're trying to run business. It gets even harder. You know what I mean? And what I've kind of learned through life a little bit, the little Uncle Dave life lesson, it's a hard balance, right? It's always a money and time. Sometimes I got a lot of money, I pay a lot of stuff to get done. Then there's times I got time and I can fix stuff, I can save money because I can do it myself. It's a hard balance in life, and so you gotta do what fits you, But like I said, that vortex, you get stuck in there, and you start getting those bills, right? And you got to run, baby. You got to run. It's really tough. It's a horrible system. I think there's something with contractors. I still haven't found the video or the verbiage to really but there's a contractor's trap. You know what I mean? I think there is something out there. There's something out there, because it's easy to, when you're busy and the money's flowing and you're sitting there and you're like, oh wow, I'm spending this much in maintenance and stuff. I need a new truck. That's going to solve my problems. Well, yeah, it does, but now insurance goes up. You don't want the truck getting damaged. Oh, now I'm going to have employees. Hey, don't be jumping in here with your dirty clothes, or they got a screwdriver, they ripped the seat. Oh, it's part of business to agree, but you can learn. It can really stress you out. It can be a huge burden. And if you like to drink, I was lucky. I don't really like the taste of the drink, but I tell you what, there was many nights that if I could find a strong substance or a heavy drinker, I would have been tipping like a mother. Dun-dun-dun. Once they figure out they could text me, he says, once they figured out they couldn't text me on it, they threatened me with a $2,500 fine per day. I love it. And so, the fact that, this is stuff that just kind of comes up to my brain. I'm not saying I advocate for it or I always do it or whatever, but, that's why, sometimes, if you do, even the banner sign or something, you might just want to put garage door service or garage door this or whatever. No name, which I know seems goofy, but that's because if it gets picked up ownership or something, I know this happened to my brother-in-law, supposedly. It sounds like they ended up sending him a letter. I guess it wasn't as bad as I thought, but they had his sign, and I thought, yeah, well, you know how that works. He goes in there to get his sign, and they're going to be like, you can't have these here. This is a no banner sign type of, and I just thought, I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't need that stuff in my life. And I think it's ridiculous for even for Tony. I've seen some pictures of his setup there. Come on, let the guy make some dollars. You know what I mean? Some advertising. It's on a busy highway. Come on, I mean, but it's just, that's the stuff I mean, it's like they do not want you to succeed. Um, I think I have to think of it, but what was it? I've heard stories before. Sometimes these township people, they've never been in charge of a business, right? They never. I knew even some that kind of ran a business and then went under, and then they went into township and stuff. But what I thought I liked the most was listening to a guy about the HOA, and he said, I thought he put it the best, and it sunk with me. He says the problem with an HOA, he says they put people in charge. He said that never had power in their life, and he said overuse it. And I was like, oh, it was like a light bulb snapped in my head. And I went, they've never been in charge and now they overextend their power. And it's like the township. The township and the cities and municipalities, they do the same crap as, not all of them. There's some good people. I had one that was in the township. She left, of course, right? She would always tell me stuff under the radar, kind of like, like, hey, you got to have three print, otherwise they're not going to accept it at the meeting, and you got to have a fire hydrant, blah, 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 blah. Because I was getting upset. I'd go in there, I'd give them one print, and they'd be like, you need three. You need to, and you got to be all to scale. It's got to be the big prints. And I'm just like, why didn't they do this? I'd get upset. Do 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 do. Thread, that's crazy. Tony says, I've learned in my 56 years, it's always best to go ahead and ask for forgiveness later. I would agree with that. I would, because I heard that from a very successful business owner years ago. He was actually bringing sand, I think, even down to his property on the lakefront, which was pretty. But I would agree, because if you go in there, I mean, so like for instance, right, with my shop, the shop is right next to the right, and then the next building over was the building I was looking at really hard. And I thought I was doing, so I brought the township in. I went down, had a meeting. They all came down there, and they're telling me, "Oh, you're gonna have to have a firewall here." And I'm thinking, okay, well, I could still have a rolling steel, because I do garage doors. I can do a fire door there. Okay. And then they're like, are you gonna park in here? And I'm like, yeah. Well, you gotta have a drain and a separator. I mean, they're just like tearing this place apart, and it's almost like you could just tell they're loving to be in this place. To actually see it now, right? Because I was dealing with the realtor, and I thought, for what the price was, it was a good price. It was a good price. It just needed so much build out that I was like, I just can't swing that. You know what I mean? Not right now. So the next building, they had to, because I had to build that out. But I remember the township guy, I forget his name, but we called him Tasmanian Devil, because some days it was like he was calm, and other days it was like, blah, 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 blah. I mean, he was just crazy. And I remember he called me. We're working out of a little enclosed trailer, right? The shop was getting built out. Like I said, this thing was just dirt floors. Nothing. It was just a pole barn, dirt floors, nothing. No sewer, no water, no electricity, nothing. And so I called all the companies, right? So that's not responsibility. I called consumers. I called DTE for the gas. I called Comcast for internet. And I remember the Comcast ones were the first ones. They had a bore under the road or whatever. And he calls up and he's like, I see you got Comcast. And I'm thinking, what the hell did I do wrong? Like, so did they not get their permit? Go after them. You know what I mean? I just told them I want service. And, I know you're running out of there. Yeah, we're running out of a damn enclosed trailer. What's the big deal? Off a generator. Like, I mean, just like they just don't care about you, like just all upset. Just even like our sign, right? I remember the fire department would let us open or get a permit unless there was an address on there. So I was kind of sneaky, and I thought, well, screw them. I'm going to put my name on there and the address. So that way, if they say, you can't have your business there yet, well, I guess I got to take down the address too. It's all on one sign. And luckily they didn't say anything, but they're just like that. They're just like that, man. So, like I said, so many things are working against you. Tony says, that's too fun, Dave. Says, I've having a trailer converted into a big sign. There you go. That can move around property to property. I'm playing, there you go. There you go. He says, I'm playing their effing game. I love it. I love it, Tony. There you go, man. There you go. I love it. That's very true. It's funny. There was a very good restaurant. They actually had really nice food. It was called, I believe it's Toast and Jam over here in the Muskegon over there. And they, it never dawned on me until I started running business, right? But they always had an old classic car, like a Studebaker, I don't know what you call it, but it was, you know, it was like a service vehicle back in the day. It was all one. I mean, it wasn't really a hearse, but it was like that, right? It was a business suit or something, probably 1950 something. And they had that thing all decked out. The whole thing was rain, and they put it in the parking lot right by the road. You know why they were doing that, right? Probably because the township wouldn't let them put a sign out, and they thought they could have a sign on the building. The building was a different direction of the road, and they could have one above, but it was like a little strip mall. And but they had that vehicle out there for years, and then I remember it came up for sale. I really didn't have a use for it. It'd be a cool vehicle. I always remember I kind of wanted it just almost for the gem of thinking they beat the system because it sat out there for a long time. It was like, but one of those things kind of like, screw you, I got a car out there that's got our name on it. And I'd always see it and get my attention. It's just an old little car that all wrapped, just say toast and jam, all colorful, and didn't think nothing of it when I was a little younger. But as I started doing business, I was like, you know what? I'm surprised they never put a sign out by the road, probably because they can't. So they just parked the car. There you go. Probably had to plate it every year, something silly, because that's what they do. Tony or Evan's guys, Tony, I think Sugar Mama can help me out if I CRA flags me for something. I think you just get a sugar. I mean, I'm still looking. I still been looking. I'm looking to be a pool boy. I really am. So if there's any ladies out there and you got millions of dollars and you need a pool boy, I'm your guy. I'm looking for the pool boy job. I'll wear the soul and everything. So just get the sugar mom and just forget the rest. Tony's got. Oh yeah. So the hearse would be nice for working. I'm glad Evan brought that up because I was literally thinking about it the other day. I was just talking to the wife of Tron about it. And it's really weird how like when you're, at least for me, and I know I'm not as old as some, but you realize how much you like being able to reach everything. So I got the little truck. I tell you what, I can do darn near almost everything with that little truck, right? I got an opener on the side. Like I learned that from Cole, a guy that did fencing, because he would haul top rail, 20-foot top rail. He had a diesel truck, he had a Dodge. But I remember on the tailgate and on the thing, I thought, damn, I was like, that's a good idea to haul, instead of the back of your truck and all this, and or cutting it. But I love the fact that I can reach. So like a hearse, Evan was saying, it'd be nice for working on garage doors. It's long. I mean, it really is funny how like, it's just so nice to be able to reach things. You know what I mean? And it's not for everybody because obviously when the weather changes, it's fun because you got to either have a topper or you got to use bins or whatever. But cutaway van. I really like that cutaway van. That was nice, very roomy. When I was seriously hardcore on it, but all the compartments on the outside, things like that. But man, I still can't get on. I really don't like the trucks. The trucks just, there's so much stuff that gets stuck in the middle that you reach. You gotta have like a little pick or whatever, and just debris and garbage and wrappers and all kinds of weird stuff, nuts and bolts, oil if it spills. Just don't do it the Harris way. Tony says, I think a hearse would be good. A little weird, but yeah, it's a big rolling billboard. Heck yeah, man. That's why I always like the vans. Vans are always nice. You can plaster them. They're big billboards. Those work pretty good. They're not that expensive, which is nice. Dang, we had 9 likes tonight. What time is it? We'll give it to about 8:30 or so. What do we got here? Just don't do it the Harris way. It's so silly, when you think about it. I don't even see nothing. Is Joe even still around? I haven't seen nothing on Joe. I don't see pictures of him. I don't even see him eating ice cream or nothing. Which is a reference to my my sugar mama comment. I love it. What's this one say? Tony's guy says, that's right. Yeah, it's like I said, it's all what you can afford, what you can do, for your budget, stay small, keep it all. Especially when and like I said, especially right now with this economy. Like I said, until something either goes gangbuster, I mean, it's just so weird. It's even weird for my brain to process that it wasn't that long ago that, I mean, like I said, I sold, I think, 3 vehicles and I had, they were just extra vehicles. And I mean, I was getting like, I got like $2,000 to $3,000 more than what I paid for them, and I put on whatever it was, I don't remember, thousands of miles on top of them. They're already another 3 or 4, and everything was just going nutty on the old market. I remember I was looking for an enclosed trailer, and I mean, as soon as you find it, it was 5 minutes. Like it was sold. I mean, it was like people were just like, "I'll give you $500 over more what you're asking." Just silly how much that stimulus money made people do weird things. I mean, that's just crazy. And then thinking, oh my gosh, if I would have had a stockpile, like I would have bought some trailers, enclosed or flatbeds or whatever. I would have bought a fleet of those if I had just had a couple mills sitting around. I would have bought so many garage doors because I was just getting everybody in the woodworks calling me, hey, do you got this? Hey, do you got this? They're telling me it can't be for 6, 8 months. And I'm just like, I was driving all around Michigan just collecting them, some that were slightly used to some that were new in people's storage units, modifying them, just crazy times, man. That's right. The other live, like I said, Tony, it's this one is really got a whole diversified of people on here. But they're either just like one was this is this guy, he says, can you name a car for a edit? I don't even know what that means. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. But what's nice about it at least is I can see him, I can see likes. I see we got 9 likes. So on a Wednesday, dang man, we're living the dream. Dun, dun, dun. What's Tony got? So Dave, how often do you shave your nose hairs? That's right. That's what somebody was saying. I was like, never. No, I don't know how often. My wife grooms me. Whenever she goes, you're looking bad. I tell you what, man, it's great when you know, hoorah to all those wonderful wives out there, huh? If you got a good wife, man, it's life changing. It's great. Thank you, women, for dealing with us men. Dun, dun, dun. And it does help. At least when you're doing business, it helps a lot. To have a good spouse that supports you and work with you and help you with things because there's a lot of things. I mean, there's a ton of things, honestly. My wife can do that I can't. And there's things I can do that she can't. So it's always a great balance. But it's one of those things. Take your time. You know what I mean? Take your time. If you're a young, take your time. You got nothing but time. Evan says, I don't think there's any moderators in the other live. No, there's not, Evan, which is fine. Which is fine. Like I said, I think there's it shows like one. But that's the reason I wanted to kind of play with it and see if there was any between the web or the webcam to the phone, if there was any difference. That's what I was just kind of playing around with. Plus, I figured out it on the phone, which is nice. I know some people don't like it being straight up and down. Still learning. Still learning. Which is a lot. I'm glad there's kind of nobody else on there because I hate for somebody being singled out right now on another live. Deal with all that stuff. What's that? Evan says, Dave, he says, didn't you say you were gonna shave when the ended? Yeah. Actually, I look at some pictures. So it started out with me and Cap, right? Cap mentioned something about, there it's just gonna for a couple weeks, it's just to suppress it, and then things will, go back normal. And I was just like, dude, I'm like, if one person has it and it's done all this, like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna eradicate? Which was the stupidest thing. They were still letting people, it seemed like, travel. I mean that stuff. I mean, this is like, come on, you guys. We're men. We're not stupid, right? There's a lot of things, right? I mean, I look at it too. And I go, let's just say, my neighbor's dog is bothering me, a little steak with a little something in it, the dog will buy, right? Or maybe it runs too far out back and there's how and something happens, right? Come on, we're not stupid, man. I mean, doing the wars and service over there, something happens and you don't need much. It's always over resources or something silly. But anyways, my beard got really big. I remember because I told him, I said, well, I won't shave. I said I won't shave until it's over with. Um, and it did. It got really big. And then as it kind of, was kind of dwindling, I finally started trimming it. The wife would trim certain ways, as however she liked it, or so it wasn't quite in the way of things. But it's just funny to me. You know, I just couldn't believe they found another one, and it's like, what's going to be the next one? What's going to be the next? And you think about it, it's probably good for the economy, stimulates, right? I mean, gloves, obviously, you couldn't get gloves. Mass business did good. The pharmacy, as Rich would say, the pharmacy did really good. So it's like, I feel like they're just trying to stimulate the economy no matter what. Do 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 do. I must be special. It says everyone around me got the sickness when it was going around. Even my girlfriend got it, and we never social distance and never got it somehow. Yeah, it's so weird. What was it like? They were talking about like the herd immunity. I mean, like I said, to me, the whole thing, you know, is just really silly the way it was all kind of handled. And I can't think off the top of my head what their motive was. Maybe it was a beta test to see how many people would like comply, or like I said, it stimulated. It was a good way because obviously, what was it? The interest rates did some stuff. They were able to move that stuff around. There's just so many things that we're not being told, unfortunately. Let's see, we got somebody in here. He's got Ken. What's up, Ken? Let's see what he's got. That's a cool picture. It's actually the Ken and Barbie doll. I love it. So I work in install commercial doors and operators for them. I have been in commercial for 21 or something here. I don't know what that is. 215 years, and I'm lead for the past year and a half. I currently get paid 25 an hour. Oh, he's blowing up. He's got some more. Get paid. So I work for Rainer Door. Okay. And an opportunity to change companies and make 39. Rainer doesn't supply tools, and I get 3 minutes away from where I live. This new company is 1 an hour. Ooh, plus I get a truck fuel card. Okay, 14-hour plus. Okay. And all tools provided. Ooh, and oh man, Tony's gonna love you. Grinder, dang. For every truck and all benefits. What is your opinion? My options, because if I had to, an extra 2 hours to my day with city interstate traffic, or not. Good one. I'd love to hear if any of the guys have some opinions on this. So that's a good one. That is a good one. Boy. Okay, so that's 14. Gosh, I don't know, man. That's hard. So, Ken, by the way, love the question. Let's put this up because this is a good point. Rich has got a good point here. Says you can just move. Now that is a good. How easy is it for you to move? You got the kids, the family, all that stuff tied up. That is a good question. That's a tough one. I guess too, maybe this matters, maybe it don't. I'm kind of thinking like, what's your age a little bit? Because see, here's the thing for me. As I've gotten older, I value my time, and I don't like those variables, right? I don't like traffic jams. I don't like more time on the road, more accidents. Somebody hits you, you hit somebody. Because those are things that you got to kind of factor, I guess, too, right? Those are those times that you're not being paid. I mean, I guess you got a truck, which is nice. You know. What's this one got? Evan, I suggest you can join the rest of us and go solo, if that's an option. I was wondering, like, maybe if he could possibly, if they'd let him do some stuff like, some resident, like maybe because he said, well, we're going to do commercial doors and operators. Okay, so they do commercial. So, like, there's a company in town where the shop is, a competition, and they basically, so they got their own service trucks pretty much. They take them home far as they know, but they also, like, they do get residential, but they don't do residential. So they give those to guys, and I don't know exactly how they pay them. I mean, it's a little risky, obviously, unless you're a bigger company, you can fret because, like, for us, I would worry about the truck being there and they do a bad job and then they're calling and the secretary's confused and all that kind of stuff. So maybe it would be like some residential if they get the calls. I mean, maybe they don't get any. 34 years, so 34 still, with 4 kids. Man, that's I know how that feels. Let's see here, Ken. That's good money. He says, but I don't know. I would rather start my own gig. Rich has got the figure up there, whatever. That's funny. Yeah. So I mean, I would definitely, man, that's tough. That's tough. I'm really thinking, guys, because I'm sitting here going, if I'm 34. I'm still at my prime, I'm still healthy, I'm still doing stuff, but I'm also, man, I mean, it pulls at my heartstrings a little bit because I think about my kids. And I something could happen. You know what I mean? There's a chance you could get, hurt, injured. You're farther away. What if wife or somebody or whoever in the future here, what if they want to bring you something, lunch, you want to have lunch? That's tough. I get nervous about going farther away for jobs. I really do, even when they're just my own customers, because the resources, right? All my resources are close to my home. I know my friends. I know my family. I know I got my backup. I got all kinds of goodies. Can look up on YouTube. This is Papa Tony 5340. Watch some of my videos. Subscribe. I need subscribers. Yes. Can, at least if you can even turn the notification bell off if you don't want, and just become a subscriber. That's some good stuff. He's even teaching me a few things, except for he uses that shirt. He should have got a spring turner. I only went solo because I got tired of 6 years of rejections from the companies here, which crazy. But it is, you do what you got to do. Like I said, if you got to, but yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? Here's another thing that just came across my brain. The more you make, the more they take. That's just something to think about too. You know what I mean? So yes, you are right. But unfortunately with the old Uncle Sam, you might get into it. You might feel the paycheck and you're like, wow, it's only, whatever, 100, 200 bucks more. I don't know. And you're like, dang, where, it's like, for me, it's like, boy, if you could do a job on a weekend for an opener install, let's say a resi or something, a couple $100 off that. And it's something that you could possibly maybe take your kid or kids, 2 kids or something, whatever, and you're in control of. That would be something to think about. So part of me, right? One thing I've learned a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit about Uncle Dave. So I personally, I like my rentals, right? I like the rentals because I'm in control. You know what I mean? If I'm there doing a roof, I can help. I can contract it out. I'm in control, right? If I'm flooring or whatever, I can spend late nights there. I contract it out. I can bring my kids there. There's nothing. I own the property, but obviously when you're doing sometimes the garage doors and stuff like that, you got certain circumstances that you can bring them. But there's time you can't. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, I got a big heart. I love the next generation. I love my kids. I pretty much love all kids. I think kids are great. So I'm always like, how can I teach? How can I teach? How can I show them? How can I improve their lives for the future? Because there's a lot of how do you say it? There's a lot of brainwashing. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff they're told about in life. Especially like even when I grew up, right? It was like, basically, it's like go get a good job. And I remember even when I think I took a $3 pay cut per hour or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh. But the problem was, right, was that I was kind of overhead, right? I maxed myself out always, right? I bought the house, I got the truck payment, I got like what I'm always kind of trying to explain a little bit to Evan and other younger people, that it's like, don't do that. Don't do that. Make sure you got to plush the money, because that's what gives you that. If you're like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go look, or I want another job, I'm going to take 2 weeks off because I got money saved, I'm looking good. But when you're always strapped, now you gotta rush to the next one. You gotta get the next job, and you gotta make that money. Well, even my $3 pay cut, my paycheck was only like $20 difference. And I was like, dang man, I got my paycheck. I was like, only $20 difference, and I'm thinking like I must have went to another tax bracket. And I was like, psh, like, this job's way better too. You know what I mean? It was way better than working in a shop and stuff like that. I had some freedom. It was great. I got to be out and about. So. There's pros and cons, so I hope that kind of helps you out. I appreciate the question. Just things to think about. I mean, that is a nice pay. But I don't know. I guess it all depends too on how you feel when you're there. If you like people you work with, that's always a big thing. You might get into a situation where now they pay you. That's always a thing to think about. Now you're the top of the pay in a sense too. Now the economy tanks out or something, and you gotta, you know what I mean? Like, if you got, I always look at, like, I'd rather have loyalty. There was a guy that was working at the shop, right? And, he left on good terms. And I think it's very honorable to be a good man. You know what I mean? To tell intentions. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Because I think in the majority, not always, but majority of business owners, stuff like that, like I said, we want you to do good. We really do, right? We want their families to succeed. We want them to be able to feed their families. But it's a market we're in, right? I mean, it's like that whole thing, right? You want more money. Well, what are you going to do more to make more money? You're going to be efficient. You're going to keep your vehicle clean. You're going to have stuff supplied, stocked. Are you instead of doing 2 or 3 service calls, you're executing 6 service calls, and you can work 3, 6 at night. Hey, that warrants overtime, whatever. That's very. But anyways, he was leaving 2 weeks. That was, I mean, he was like probably the first one that gave me 2 weeks. Everybody else would be like 2 days or something. And it's like yeah, I'm out, whatever. I mean, I even one guy, my foreman guy, I basically gave him a week, probably my fault, right? I told him, I said, look, I'm gonna give you a week, but you gotta, you gotta wrap up this stuff and you gotta go. And of course, time, right? Does he do anything work related? Hell no. I got builders calling me, hey, why is your worker here asking if he can have a job? Which, Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, well, because I told him, I was trying to be nice, but obviously I should have just whacked him, I guess. But anyway, this guy gave me 2 weeks. I gave him $100. I said, dude, here's $100 for being like, a good person. And then he came back. His other company didn't work out, whatever. He was working in a shop, something. He wanted to come in like an hour early, something to do with his kid or something, daycare or something. I thought, I was like, I remember I think it was Cap and the wife or secretary. They were going back and forth like, well, and I said, look, I said, he doesn't steal. I said, he does a good job. I said, and you're talking an hour, he can load trucks in the morning or something. I said, let him come back. I said, he's always, and that's what I'm trying to say is that loyalty, being an honorable person, it goes so far, right? It's just so, because people talk, man. And you'll build a reputation, if you don't do honorable stuff. And so you just don't know. Like I said, to me, anything that's business nowadays, any business to some degree, and I know some businesses have to do certain things, and they travel and that, but I just look at it and I go, travel is the death, because depending on where you guys live and all that, I don't know about you guys, but like it's getting nuttier on the road. I'm swerving, cussing. I mean, I've watched a couple people a few weeks back. They got out of the vehicle. I thought they were going to get out. You know, so I don't want nothing to do with the road, man. Like I want to be off the road as soon as possible. I've even found that there's a window. You get like 9 to maybe like noon is okay, but once you get about 3 o'clock, it seems like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, I call them the factory rats. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I was one of them. I don't know what else to call them. You guys got a good little saying, Rich might, or somebody, Tony even. Let me know. I call them the factory rats. I go, the factory rats are out. You know what I mean? Because it's like I was there, right? You get out of your job and it's just, you know, boom. And I mean, it's like, I got to get home. I got to change the oil in my car. I got to cut the grass. I got to take the kids to soccer game. I got, blah, 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 blah. You know, and it's like, it's just, it's craziness. It's a whole different animal out there versus when it's like, because, you get around 7, 8 o'clock, like the factory rats are going in, sometimes earlier, 6 o'clock. But I've noticed 9 o'clock to about 2 o'clock is a sweet zone, where it's like you see contractors, people aren't, like they're being paid hourly to be in a truck or doing whatever this government stuff, whatever, and it's more calm, But I can feel it when I get past that 3 o'clock. It's like zoom, 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 cutting people off, and people are getting in front of you, and it's like, what the heck is going on here? So I typically try to. So I can only imagine what it's like, when you're dealing with rush hour, if you're depending on what time you're getting out and stuff like that. But that can be irritating. I thought that many times when I've been doing garage doors too. Sometimes I'm sitting there, especially when you travel. Right now, you're putting a lot more variables. There's construction. The highway gets shut down because there was a huge accident, robbery, whatever. And now it's like you're sitting there and you're like, "Are you serious?" I mean, especially up here in Michigan, I remember we went down some back roads. I had like 3 guys with me pulling a trailer, maybe the scissors lift trailer, I can't remember. And like we were like, dude, where are we? Of course, you know how it is, right? We're in the Timbuktus. The internet's not working good. Our GPS. I got 2 guys. I'm like, come on, guys. I'm like, give me directions. Give me directions. I mean, I'm just plowing through snow. We had huge drift overs. The highway shut down because there's a huge accident now. So everybody's dodging off. There was like nobody on this country road that I'm on. So I'm like, I don't even know if I'm the right area north. I need to go northwest. And I'm plowing through snowbanks. All thinking is like, we're gonna get stuck. I mean, I was miserable. I kept thinking, oh my gosh. I was like, I just want to get home. I want these guys to get home. I want them to shut their garage doors and be safe and sit on the couch and have a hot cup of Joe. And it just gets to be, it can be overwhelming sometimes. So that distance, man. I've been many times on distance. What's this? Evans is only solo because I tried 6 years. He's got. Oh yes. I'm gonna turn this one off. I'm gonna say over here.